Hey guys, in this video I'm going to be talking about dividends. In particular, I'm going to be talking about how to adjust stock prices to reflect dividends. So if you ever look at like Yahoo Finance, you always see that there's this like weird adjusted close number. And this adjusted close value is basically the closing price adjusted for dividends. Sorry if I have a cough, I've been sick the last few weeks. But anyways, we're going to show you how to get this mysterious number, and you really should adjust all your prices for dividends if you want to do any sort of machine learning. You should adjust the open, high, low, close, not the volume necessarily, but you should adjust those for dividends. Otherwise, you're predicting the wrong thing. You're just going to end up being predicting a dividend if that's one of your features. So let's not let's figure out how on earth they get this weird value. We're gonna figure that out for Yahoo Finance and for interactive brokers. Um, okay, so just a big reminder for people about dividends. Dividends are payouts, cash payouts to shareholders. So it's like profit sharing. So people like my wife think dividends are so great because, wow, they're paying you, you get money, it's a nice payment. But really, a dividend just lowers the value of the company um, by the dividend amount. So really, like you're getting paid, but the stock is going down. But it's always nice to see your account get bigger. I mean, your cash get bigger, but I mean, there's issues with dividends, double tax, all these other stuff that people who like growth don't like them. That's why you see growth stocks. Many of them don't have dividends. But anyways, an important thing to note is that there's this thing called the ex-dividend date. And this date is extremely important. This is the first date where you are not entitled to a dividend after that date. So let's say we're going to look at like QQQ dividends. Um, you'll see that there's this thing called like an ex-dividend date. So this means 1227. If I bought the stock at 1227, I'm not entitled to that dividend. It's too late. If I bought it a business day before, if I was owner of it business day before, I'm good. And as you see, there's this thing called a record date, which really like I wouldn't I wouldn't worry too much about the record date, but what this means is the company wants to see you're the owner on that record date. So if you have the stock on the business day before the ex-dividend date, you'll have it on the record date. The record date is a little bit confusing. The key is to have it on the day before the ex-dividend date. You can already sell it on the ex-dividend date. Of course, not financial advice, double check all the stuff, but the key is you have to have it on the day before the ex-dividend date, say the 26th. And then because there's this T+2 settlement, you'll be owner on the record date, the 28th, and you'll get the dividend. There's also this thing called the payment date. That's when you actually get the payment. That's later. So, anyways, I just wanted to mention that. So basically, let's say I bought the stock on the 27th. I will not get the dividend. But if I bought it on the 26th, if it was a business day, and then I sold it on the 27th, I will get the payment. Anyways, um, you should always double check everything I say. But okay, but we really want to adjust the value of the stock for the dividend because if the value of the stock, if the value of the company goes down by the dividend amount, I mean, if the stock price basically automatically goes down by the amount of the dividend, we really should back adjust stocks before the ex-dividend date and by an amount to reflect this, so we don't just get like this $2 drop if there's a $2 dividend. And this adjustment should keep going back recursively throughout all the dividends. So what we really want to adjust is by this amount. So there's a dividend amount, and then there's the last stock price before the ex-dividend date. So let's say the stock QQQ was at 380, and then there was a $1 dividend the next day, meaning the next dividend date is the next day. So you should reduce the value of QQQ by 1 over 380. So in other words, you should multiply by this adjustment factor of 1 minus 1 over 380 or 379 over 380. So in other words, it's 1 minus the dividend amount divided by last adjusted stock price before the ex-dividend date. So you'll adjust all the stock prices before the last ex-dividend date by that amount, and then you'll keep going through all the ex dividends and adjust all the values before that. You'll multiply again by this by an additional factor for each dividend. I'll explain. It's probably makes no sense now, but I'll explain like in a detailed toy example how this works. So we're going to show you how to do this for interactive brokers and for Yahoo Finance. It's the same process, but just for sake of completeness. So Yahoo Finance provides this really cool thing called ticker.dividends, and that gets you the dividend history. So how can we get the dividend history with ticker.dividends? So we do import yfinance as yf, and then we can do something like we can do something like dividends equals ticker. Oh, sorry. We need to define the ticker object. Ticker equals yf that ticker. And I probably should make a Yahoo Finance video if you guys are interested in it. Please comment if you are. So now dividend. Okay, so you have this ticker object. This ticker object, by the way, has like a million things. So what? Oh, I'm sorry. This ticker object has a million things. It doesn't just have dividends. It has like cash flow, capital gain, earning dates, all this other stuff, financials. But dividends is what this video is about. If you want a video on Yahoo Finance, please comment. Okay, so this is how you can get dividends with using this cool method for Yahoo Finance. Let's just call it into variable dividends equals this, and let's make it a data frame by calling the toFrame method. toFrame, let's say dividend amount, and then let's say dividends is like this. So basically, this is the ex-dividend date and dividend amount. Okay. So now let's just first show you a toy example of how of what I explained above by adjusting for dividends. So let's say we have a stock, and just for simplicity, I assume that like the index is a timestamp. So maybe I should actually call this index. I'll do df.index.name equals timestamp, or let's call it date. Okay. So I have this index.name, not main. Sorry. So I have this data frame like this, and these are just made up values for open and close. But one thing first to notice is that if there is no gap between the previous day's close and the current day open, the next day's open, then the value, if there's a dividend, it should go down by that value. So as you see, like date 0 closed at 50, and assuming no gap, it'll be $2 less, it'll be 48, right? Here I just made up a number. I said it was a huge gap between the next days, but like just another example is like, let's say there's no gap between these 2 days, it should go down by $2. So the close, it should be 198. For some reason, I just randomly made up gaps in the other days, but if there is no gap, it should go down by the exact amount. So now we have to calculate this adjustment factor, and the adjustment factor will continue to adjust the dividends. I'll show you how to do the adjusted close right now, and the adjusted open would be very similar, and we'll show an example of that after. So like let's say, so from the last X dividend date to after that is the exact same close. Nothing changes. So the last X dividend date is here. So from date 4 and after, nothing changes. So the adjustment factor will just be 1 from 4 and after. And we can multiply the close by the adjustment factor to get the adjusted close. Of course, adjustment factor is 1, so this is not going to do anything. except give us the first adjusted close value. Okay, so now we go from the right before the last ex-dividend date all the way backwards. So we're gonna adjust the stock prices on all dates before the last ex-dividend date. So all dates before the last ex-dividend date is from 3 and backwards. So we're gonna adjust that. How are we gonna adjust that? Remember how we're gonna adjust that. We're going to multiply by an adjustment factor. The adjustment factor is gonna be 1 minus the dividend amount, which is 2, divided by 200, which is the previous close. So this is going to be the adjustment factor. So we're going to then multiply this adjustment factor by the closing price, and this will end up giving us the adjusted close. And as you see, the close here didn't change, but the previous ones changed. But then we have another dividend here, so we have to adjust all the stock prices before the second to last ex-dividend date. So meaning before this one. So meaning from here and backwards, there's only one value, but how are we going to adjust that? So we have to define the adjustment factor from until 0, which is all the dates before the last before the second to last ex-dividend date. So as you see here, and this should be, so what am I going to do? I get a $2 dividend, so I do 1 minus $2 over 2 over 50, because that was the previous close. So I get, I multiply that by the previous adjustment factor, so I get this new adjustment factor that looks like this. I get this, it's this crazy adjustment factor, 0.9504. We again will multiply the close by these adjustment factors, and you see the adjusted close is very impacted here. Of course, these are dummy values, but this gives you the idea of how this works. Okay, so what is our plan of attack? The plan of attack is basically something like this. For each dividend, we need to find the timestamp index right before the ex-dividend date. So from that point backwards, we adjust the closing price by 1 minus dividend amount divided by stock price before ex-dividend date. And we repeat that for all dividends. So let me write that. Oops. Repeat for all dividends. So first thing we need to do is we need to find the timestamps indexes right before the ex-dividend date, because those are the ones we'll keep adjusting in time. So I just want to show you a trick. There's this thing called search sorted. So what does search sorted do? Let's say I have another. Let's say I have another dummy data frame. I call it blank df, right? And I have values 2 and 5, right? I want and these, assume these are all dates. So I'll do like dot index dot name equals date. So to make it more like what we want. So assume this is the date of our price series, right? And you know what? Let's just, for the hell of it, we'll do price equals np dot arrange blank df dot shape 0. So we have blank df with the price, right? So, and let's say we have dividends on days 2 and 5. So we want to find the date before we want to find the date before these ex-dividend dates. Assume 2 and 5 are the ex-dividend dates. So if you see here, the date before 2 is 1, and the date before 5 is 4, right? So ideally, we'll get this 1 and 4 value, right? So there's a trick. You can do this thing called index that search sorted. You do search sorted of your ex-dividend date array, and you subtract 1. This gives you, and then you have to do actually, this will give you like the index of the index where it needs to be. It'll be 0, 2. So then you actually can do like blank df dot index of this. So, oops, not black df, blank df. So you get 1 and 4. Okay, so does that make sense? Yeah, it does. Why does it make sense? Because I'm looking for inserting 2 and 5. 2, the one right before 2 is 1, and the one right before 5 is 4, right? The one right before 5 is 4. Sorry, right before 5, yeah, is 4. So this does give me the dates right before the ex-dividend date. This is just a trick. So if this doesn't make sense, please skip to the next part. But this is using this thing called search sorted. What does search sorted do? It basically says, like, let's say I want to do search sorted value, and then I give it a value 2. It says, like, look, this is my array 1, 3, 4, 6, and these are my indices. Indices 0, 1, 2, 3. So what does search sorted do? And it with the number 2, it says which index do I have to insert? If I insert 2, which index will it belong? So like if I insert 2, it'll belong to the second index. So it'd be 0, 1. 1 would be the index. And then subtract 1, you get the index before. So that gives you the thing right before. So this is a trick. Probably you shouldn't spend too much time on it, but it's a trick I learned from it's a trick, search sorted. Anyways, you could do it the old fashioned way by like kind of finding the one right before. Anyways, so let's show you how to calculate the adjusted closing prices for Yahoo Finance dataset. Of course, how do we get the dataset in Yahoo Finance to begin with? Let's remind ourselves how to do that. We can do this, you can use this ticker.history thing. So you do hist equals ticker.history, period equals max. If you do auto adjust equals false, it'll not automatically make close be the adjusted close. It'll keep all the stuff. So you see dividends, by the way, is the same as the dot dividends column. And just because Yahoo Finance keeps capital letters here, but Interactive Brokers for the column names, Interactive Brokers keeps lowercase letters. Let's just rename it for consistency. So now you see this. So the idea, the goal is we want to be able to calculate this and get as close as possible. So how are we going to do that? So we're going to do what we wanted to do previously, is go backwards in time and adjust on times right before the ex-dividend dates and repeat until we're done. So first step one is calculate the timestamp before ex-dividend date. And so the timestamp before the ex-dividend date, we can use the search sorted trick when we do like search sorted of that and we subtract 1. That's the trick I spoke about above. I can make a new video on search sorted or pandas in general, but like, okay. So this will be a NumPy array of the indices of the indices. So then we need to like actually call it. So I don't want to get into too much detail, but like this will be the last timestamp before ex-dividend date. It'll be dot index of what we found here. And then we'll set that to the index. So let me just show you guys the before and after maybe. So dividends before, you see the 24th is the first ex-dividend date, and then the 17th. And after, it'll be the 23rd, and you see the 16th. It's like right one day before, or sometimes it's 3 days if it's like a Monday or or there's a business days. But this is what this trick is doing. Okay, so now what do we need? Now we'll show you how to adjust the prices. So now go backwards from each day before X div date and adjust. So how are we going to do that? So first of all, let's make a new column called close new. This is the one we're going to want to match the adjusted close. So first, let's have this adjustment factor be 1. This will be like the default adjustment factor. And then what we're going to do, like we said, we're going to go through the rows backwards. We're going to go through the index, the data backwards in time, our time series. So this is going to be the previous time series we showed you here with that we got from Yahoo Finance. Didn't I just get it? It's weird. Did I? Oh, sorry. This is the one. But we're gonna go backwards in time. We're gonna do so we're gonna start with the most recent things, and for the most recent things, what we're gonna do is we're going to say if the index is in dividends, that index meaning it's one of the meaning it is in a business day before X date, then we know we're gonna have to adjust from that point backwards. So then dividend equals dividends. We get the dividend amount, dividends dot log index div amount. I guarantee you I did it wrong the first time. So we're gonna do adjustment factor times equals 1 minus, as I said, it was the dividend divided by the price at the value right before the X date, which is the current index, right? So his dot at index close new. You might want to just maybe copy and paste this code and use it if it, and check it works. But I hope you just get the big picture. That's my goal, not these little details. Index, let's say close new. And because this is different than what I had above, in other words, like my adjustment factors keeps updating itself, only updates itself once. This thing will you know what? Actually, it's okay what I'm doing. Sorry. Exactly as above. Sorry, this got a little bit messy. Dividends are not. I mean, so this is boring. This is bookkeeping, but we multiply by adjustment factor, and then this should give us the thing. I guarantee you, I got this wrong. But let's check. This close new is what we calculated for adjusted close. No, wait, that's too close to be true. Oh. Hmm. Oh, see, now it's funny because tail is, yeah, that makes sense. Why? Tail is the most recent data. It's all after the last X dividend date. These things should all be the same, right? But then head, if you look at the beginning, I obviously made a mistake. So so now, oh, I made a mistake, but I fixed it. Is this close enough for you guys? I don't know, honestly. Like, this is the one I calculated. I calculated the close new, and this is the adjusted close. I mean, it has the first few things. We can do this thing. There's this thing called like np.isClose, and we can check. It's within 1e minus 4. So I think it's close enough. Even though it's not exact, you have some rounding errors. So now let's do this thing for interactive brokers. So adjusted last versus regular trades for IBKR. I want to note that extended hours pricing and that sort of thing, it makes these things maybe not exact. And it's worth looking into that if you play around a lot with extended hours like I do. But this is more for a big picture. So let's, of course, connect to IB. From IB and sync, import star. IB equals IB util dot start loop. And then IB.connect port equals 4002 client ID equals 0. Then I make a mistake. No. Okay, so but remember for interactive brokers, there's this IB.rec historical data. This rec historical data has this like what to show thing, right? And okay, and as you see, there's what to show, and what to show could be trades, which are the actual trades, and there's this thing called adjusted last. So that's the thing I want to match. So let's look for it here. So I do TWS API adjusted last. So if you look at adjusted last in the API, uh, you'll see this is the dividend adjusted first trade price, dividend adjusted high, dividend adjusted low, dividend adjusted last, and then total trade volume. So basically, this is like trades, except it's adjusted for dividends. So we'll show you guys how to do that, how to get that. And this only works, of course, if you do end date time is now. And has to have the end date as the current time. So the goal was to show you how to match the trades ones with this one. So let's get started. So first, let's just define the contract. Define contract. So let's say QQQ equals stock, symbol equals QQQ, exchange equals smart, currency equals USD, ID dot qualify contracts. This of course gets you all the additional information. I'll show you guys like these things. And now let's get the adjusted last price. So let's first just keep it as a bar. So let me do this get adjusted last. And how are we going to do that? We're going to do, we can do bars adjusted last equals IB direct historical data QQQ. Well, let me show you guys one step at a time. Contract QQQ end date type equals that until now. Duration string equals 1 year. Bar size setting equals 1 hour. What to show equals adjusted last. And then let's just, for simplicity, it's use regular trading hours equals true. Okay, so this gives us the bar adjusted last bars, right? Adjusted last, and of course you can make this a data frame by doing util.df, and we can set index to date. So this would be df adjusted last, bars adjusted last. Okay, so this is the adjusted last price. Okay, so this is the thing we want to match. Okay, so now let's get the trades. Get trades, unadjusted trades. So let's do the same thing with the trades, but we'll skip the step of calling it bars adjusted last. We'll just call this DF. We'll call it this DF trades, and then we'll do what to show trades, and then we are going to do this util.df, and then we get the df trades. So what did I mess up on? Why do I have none? Oh, because I don't know how to spell. Okay. Now we have this. So we have two data frames. We have df trades, and we have df adjusted last. And the idea is, how am I going to get from df trades to adjusted last? So first thing we need is we need the dividends again. Same as last time, except one little technicality is because I only use 1 year worth of data. We need to just chop off the dividends. So as last time, we're going to get the dividends, but now we're just going to get dividends only up until right before like we want to make sure that that we only get it we only get dividends that happen after our first point, because previously we used the lifetime of the stock, as you see here started 1999. Here we're only using a year. So but ticker.dividends has way more than a year. So we don't want to cause error, so that's why I'm taking only the indexes that happened after dividends that happen after the first index. And then remember the search sorted trick. We'll spare the details here, but you'll get the dividends here. And this will just, all this will does is instead of this being the ex dividend date, now this is like the index. This is the day before the ex dividend date. So sorry, maybe I should show you guys before. It was something like this. This is the X date, 27th, 18th. Do the little search sorted trick, 26th, 15th. 15th here, it's because there's like a weekend, so that's why it's more than a day. Okay, because and now we'll define a function to adjust for dividends. I actually kind of did it before, so I'll just copy and paste. It's exactly as above. Oh, we should also adjust the like high new. We should adjust the low new, high low. The reason I'm copying is because you don't want it to play on the same object and screw things up. So, so remember, we're gonna adjust by the dividend amount. Last time, it's exact same formula, 1 minus dividend divided by the price right before the ex-dividend date. And this is the adjustment factor, and you go backwards in time for that. But here, all we're gonna add is we're gonna have the uh, and that you keep multiplying by the adjustment factor. But here, I'm just gonna add the high and low. So I'm gonna now I have close, open, high, low. I'm sorry, I went a little fast. I just hope you understand the big picture. This is kind of bookkeeping, so to speak. So now we can call this function. I'll call it d of trades adjusted. It's adjust for dividends d of trades. D of trades adjusted. So now let's join the tables for a second. We have this new one that we adjusted. I'll call it adjusted manually. Just manually. And then remember above we had this DF, what was it called? DF adjusted last, right? So let's just see that the values are equal. So we can, so all right, let's compare the user calculated values to IB calculated values. Okay, so let's do that. How are we going to do that? We're going to do that by doing this. We're going to do dot join on this adjusted last. And what do we need? We want adjusted last. We'll give it a sorry, just give me a second. Let me think about what's the best way to do this. Um, let's do something like this. We'll do right suffix. We'll do we'll do R suffix equals adjusted, and then we'll do left suffix equals nothing. Let's keep it as is. L suffix equals nothing. So what do we need? So I'll call this DF comparison. So we just want to check that close new, open new, high new, low new is the same as underscore adjusted. So how are we going to do that? First of all, let's just kind of inspect by hand. Close, this would be close new, close adjusted. Tail is always going to be, oh, oops. DF comparison is not. Tail is always going to be the same because it's before the adjustments. So let's do head. Head, it seems close enough, you know. And you can do the same thing for open, high, low, close. Let's just show you an example. High, high. It seems close enough. Open. Head gives you the first few values. So this means that we were right all the way. See, look, there's definitely an error, but it's not. It seems close enough. Let's just double check that it's within the a tolerance. That's good. So so if you look at within the tolerance, you can do this like NP dot comparison. Of course, NP dot is close. DF comparison. This is to check that the close adjusted is close enough. And now let's check that the low is close enough. I have a feeling one is going to be not close enough. Ooh, close enough. High. Is the high close enough? High is close enough. What about the open? Open will probably be close enough. But what if I did like a tolerance of 1e negative 7? Then it's not close enough. I'm taking the mean because like this is giving me a Boolean and I'm averaging it. If the average is 1, it's close enough. So it's close enough e negative 4, but e negative 6 is not close enough. Anyways, sorry this was a little messy. Hope you enjoyed, at least learned something from it. Please like and subscribe and write comments if you enjoyed it. Tell me what videos you're interested in. All the best. Thank you.